It does seem like Jim Jordan is not going to be elected Speaker of the House today. He was.
Now, why do you say that? Because it was very hopeful yesterday. I had to fly in. I gave a speech yesterday, and I was flying in. I land. My text messages going crazy. Looks like one more time the Republicans, but this time McCarthy is serious. He's going to give a speech and tell everybody, you got to vote for Jim Jordan. Well, so
yeah, and maybe that, sure, that maybe that'll work. I think it's highly unlikely, but look, you hold out hope for a miracle.
Wait. We've already had quorum call. Can we, Sarah? Do we have the horn music? Because I think Stu explaining this serious process. With that horn is going to make it even better. Go ahead, Stu.
We were told yesterday that Jim Jordan didn't want to have a vote on Patrick McHenry. And then we heard the exact opposite. And then we heard that Jim Jordan was going to go for a third vote. And then we were told he's not going to do that. And and now we're back. And Jim Jordan is now going to go for a third vote. He held a press conference this morning, which didn't seem to really accomplish anything specific. It was just maybe an outline of what was going on. He had a behind-the-scenes meeting. Can I read you a description of how optimistic you should be about this vote?
Oh, please do.
With this music playing in the background? This is from Jake Sherman, a reporter from Punchbowl. He said, a source describes the Jordan meeting with the holdouts. These are the holdout votes that don't want to vote for him for House Speaker. It described it like this. A direct, precise meeting in which Jordan was told he will never be Speaker. This group doesn't want anything. They want Jordan to understand that he will not be Speaker. So this is going pretty well. Wow. I think we're good job, everybody. This is great.
So we're not wasting our time with this.
No,
right?
Don't try to bribe us with anything. You will just never get this job. That is basically what they're telling you.
Okay,
now,
that's good.
Of course, I think he'd do very well as Speaker, but again, it's not me you have to please. It's not Glenn you have to please. It's not, it's not anybody who cares about conservative values at all. It's a bunch of people who don't like Jim Jordan that you have to please. And it's hard to do that with the name Jim Jordan. And I think that's where we're going to wind up here over the next few days.
Yeah, now I saw this in the Daily Caller today. Gates, who has forced the motion to vacate the chair vote in early October that successfully removed former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, from office, has continued to face criticism from many House Republicans for going against the status quo. Yeah, that's the last thing we're doing is send somebody into Washington that would go against the status quo. You know what I mean? Hey, we've got a quorum call coming up. They're exciting. Let's just wrap around that and just make sure everybody's there. And let's not upset the apple cart because this apple cart, it's doing gangbusters. We're selling apples like nobody's business. Just status quo, gang. Many Republicans who are voting for Jordan and also voted to remove McCarthy as Speaker say they believe it could be seen as a win if win for Gates if someone such as Jordan was elected. Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
This is totally
I've been told by
this is real. What you're talking about is totally what's going on. They are pissed off at Gates for doing this in the first place, and they're not going to give him anybody he wants. And I mean, it is petty, it's pathetic, but that is 100% the dynamic at work here. And there's no way to get around it unless you find someone that Gates doesn't like, which is essentially what they're going to wind up having to do.
So here it is. I've been told by a good number of people that their objection isn't personal to Jim. It's that voting in Jordan is perceived to be rewarding Matt Gaetz and the rest of the 8. Oh. So, when Stu says petty, it might not be an accurate description.
No?
I think it might be more than just petty.
Yeah. Well,
childish as well.
Petty. And it is important to note that a lot of this is not directly about Jim Jordan. I mean, there are definitely members who don't like Jordan specifically, but it's more about this idea that if you think about it from our perspective for a second, Glenn, we would say don't toss your speaker unless you have a plan to improve the situation and at least have a plan to avoid catastrophic circumstances, right? That would be the type of thing we've talked about for a while. So for us, the upside of this would be if someone like Jordan did become speaker, somebody who would improve the situation over McCarthy. That's the exact thing that the holdouts want to prevent. If people like us think this is better, then it will all be seen as worth it, and we will celebrate as if this was a good thing. They can't have that. This is why this is so hard. They can't let that occur.
We're in the death throes of the Republicans that, most Americans despise. And, they think that they are so detached from reality. They think that, in purple states and purple districts, that people would rather have a Democrat than somebody who is going to be preaching common sense. Look, we have to open up the oil fields again. We have to build refineries. We are not going to be able to survive. If you want to be the sugar daddy for the rest of the world, okay, but you're going to have to find that money someplace because people can't afford their house. They can't afford the interest. How many people have had their insurance go through the roof lately? How many? Everything is going through the roof. I went in to buy a new suit the other day. I haven't bought a new suit in I don't know how long because I'm constantly gaining weight. And so I've just been slipping into, suits that I can't even bring my arms down in because they'll just rip the sleeves right off. And, I'm one of those guys, I've been like, no, I'm going to buy a suit. I'm going to buy it because I'm going to drop this weight. This time I went in and I'm like, can I get one 3 sizes too big, please? But I went in and I buy this certain brand of suit. I've bought it forever. Believe it or not, it fits me. It's a nice suit. I bought a jacket. I thought it was a suit. I bought a jacket. I haven't bought a new suit in, 5 years, 6 years. The jacket was twice the price of what I would have paid for a suit 5 years ago. And I looked at him and he rang it up and I'm like, good Lord, what? No, I think you've rung that up wrong. And he said, no. And I said, come on, man. I know what are you talking about? And he's like, this is the price. And I said, wow. Next time, could I get a cocktail before you stick your fingers in my eyes and just press them all the way to the back of my skull? Everything is going through the roof. And do you really think that the average person who's not worried about buying a new suit, who is worried about putting food on the table and paying their rent and being able to have enough at the end of the month, do you really think that your elitist snobbery of, hey, we don't want to upset the apple cart, we just keep the status quo, do you really think they're going to like that? Do you really think that when we're roped into 2 wars, or let's just call it World War III, and things are really bad and they're paying $10 a gallon for gasoline, and then you start taking their houses? I don't know. Do you think that's going to work out well for you, Republicans? You are so misguided, so misguided. They are just out of touch. And the Republicans that like Jim Jordan, I know they're going to be called extremists, but I'm sorry, if it's an extremist position, if you want to call me an extremist for saying gender matters, that men are men and women are women, you can call yourself whatever you want, but scientifically speaking, and this is important, That can never change. We don't play footsie with people who are conducting terrorist activities. We shouldn't send pallets of cash over to Hamas or to Iran. I don't want to fight the war for Israel. They're big boys. They've prepared for this since, 1948. They can fight their own battles. We'll stand and say, hey, they have a right to exist and they have a right to defend themselves. They start committing atrocities and they lose our support. But I'm not fighting a war for them. And I'm not sending any more money, and I'm not sending any more children into death for one of these wars where we don't even know. Again, I say to Matt Gaetz, have a plan. What's the plan in Ukraine? What is it? I need a goal. I need it's like going out into a football game where there is no end zone. It's just numbers on the field, and you can run right, left. Hell, you can run into the stands, but you got to score. But there is no end zone, and so we don't really know how to score, how to even tell when you've made a touchdown or when the game is over. No, not going to do it anymore. Not going to do it. You can't keep printing money and raising interest rates. It's insane.